Norwegian guy called Jarl from Stem to Stern Sailing, and apologies if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, Jarl. Sent me a replacement Selton gooseneck, and it's an absolute perfect match for my current one, which is brilliant. Like, so thank you again very much, Jarl. Really appreciate it, and everybody should go check out Jarl's YouTube channel. He sails around Norway and posts videos about it, so that's really cool, and has made me want to visit Norway in the future. In about half an hour I'm heading off for my first sail of the season, which is going to be from Cahersiveen to Inishbofin. So it's about 100 miles. It'll be a little under 24 hours. I expect about 20-21 hours. Very nervous again. It's funny, it's just no matter how much sailing you do, start of the season, first passage, you get butterflies, and this is quite a long passage, so the boat is still feels in winter mode, but I'm sort of shaking her out of it now. So it's a beautiful evening here, coming out from Cahersiveen towards Valencia. That's Knightstown ahead, to the left slightly. High tide, so plenty of water, and in the next half hour I should be out the gap and get the sails up and be broad reaching or running towards Blasket Sound, which will be great. And I'll have, you know, another 3 or 4 hours of light at least, so I should get through Blasket Sound before dark, and that'll set me up nicely to get a bit further offshore for the longer hop from Blasket Sound up towards Slinehead off the coast of Galway. Kind of set up with the wind vane steering us more or less on course, so time to push the button and switch off the engine. So we've left Cahersiveen, where I spent the winter. We've come out by Valencia Harbour. We're just coming out into Dingle Bay now and sailing across Dingle Bay to Blasket Sound. It's just going to be here right off the tip of Dingle Peninsula. Yeah, so the tide is going to run through there for the next good few hours, but I'm hopeful I'll be able to make it through. We shall see. A bit of an experiment. Then after that, we've got kind of a long jaunt up basically across this massive bay on the west coast of Ireland, which is kind of Galway Bay but not really. South of Slinehead, between Slayhead and Slinehead, and yeah, Inishbofin then just north of Slinehead. Very far away, but the Skelligs have come into view from behind Valencia. I can see the Blaskets up to my north. Dingle Bay here. It's going about 3.5 knots, 3.5, 3.6. I'm not in any rush because Blasket Sound is going to be, tide is going to be flowing the wrong direction until about 10, and it is 20 to 7 now, so I have a few hours of the sort of main flow of the tide to wait out. So I'm pretty sure that's the worst of Blasket Sound over me. I'm back up to almost 5 knots now. I'm not stressing the engine too much. So it was kind of very flowy at the entrance here. At about 2 knots against me, with about an hour and a half left to go on that south-going tide. So it's easily doable. I wouldn't like to be getting through or trying to get through at half tide, you know, at 3 hours in. To the south-going tide, I think, especially on springs like we are at the moment, it would be, you know, you'd probably have 3.5 knots against you. As it was, yeah, just 2 knots is manageable, and it was only for, you know, 10-15 minutes, and then we popped out, and now we're making our way up alongside the west side of the Dingle Peninsula, and yeah, that headland there, we're going to turn north shortly, and then we'll just be heading out into the kind of offshore actually, which would be nice. So away from land, and only for, you know, 12 or 16 hours before we'll be closing in on the coast of Galway. So I'm anticipating not having any phone receptions for most of the night and maybe a little bit of the morning, but we'll see. So the sun is rising over Galway Bay, and I'm completely out of sight of land. I think it's about 15 or 20 miles away. I actually slept pretty decently last night in the usual 15-minute sort of chunks, mostly because even though it's a coastal passage, I'm actually quite far offshore here. Since leaving the coast of the Dingle Peninsula, and Sline Head still, 25 miles off, so I'm a good distance offshore. It's been good, really good so far. A little bit more motoring than I was hoping for, but we seem to be sailing well now, and I didn't bother setting up a pole. Again, short passage, relatively speaking, and I thought we'd be jibing a lot more than we've had to, so I've just been letting her goose swing herself, which is not as fast as the pole, but it's much quicker to jibe, obviously. And I have a preventer on both sides this time. I've learned my lesson from my broken gooseneck. I don't want that to happen again. Somewhere down here are the Aran Islands, maybe about 15-20 miles away. Probably see them when the sun comes up a bit more. There's the Dingle Peninsula just to the south of here. That's Cahersiveen back down south there again. And we're over halfway up now towards Sline Head. Those are the Aran Islands there. They're about 30 miles away, so we're not going to see those for a while. In fact, we might not see them at all because we'll be sailing offshore of them. Sline Head is approximately 30 miles away, so another 3 or 4 hours and that'll start to come into view. And another 6 or 7 hours and we'll be there. Sunrise from a port. So the day is progressing nicely. This is Sline Head, the kind of westernmost tip of County Galway mainland. We're in a bit of tide again here. We really sort of have gotten the tides all wrong on this trip, but I sort of knew that was going to be the case. This is the only good time I could get wind, so just need to accept that there'll be a knot or two of current against me at times, which there is now. We're about 2.5 hours out from Inishbofin. It's midday on Wednesday the 8th of May 2024. One reef in the main, slightly rolled away headsail. Very nice. Just never get sick of dolphins, really. Wonderful animals. So I wanted to wait until I was underway on some sort of a passage before talking about what the plan is for what I'm doing next. Obviously, completing the single-handed transatlantic circuit last year was a very amazing experience. It's like 8 months ago now that I'm back, so I'm starting to focus on short-term, medium-term and long-term sailing goals. So this summer on Saphira, I'm just going to do a bit of sailing around the west coast. Nothing too crazy. Just do a bit of exploring and get the boat back to Sligo for July, when I fly to Newfoundland to sail another transatlantic with Reese Zora. So I'm really looking forward to that. We're going to go hopefully via Greenland, so that's going to be obviously pretty special. It's going to be from St. John's in Newfoundland to Greenland through Prince Christiansen Sound, hopefully, and then on possibly to Iceland or possibly just straight back to Kinsale. So we shall see. That's July, August this year. And then in the longer term, I'm going to look at getting a bigger boat. I love Saphira to bits, but just from a perspective of living aboard, which I've more or less been doing for 2 years now, she's a little bit small, and especially living and working aboard in the winter in Ireland, it'd be just nice to have a bit more room and more creature comforts like a shower. And then long-term plans, yeah, I'd like to sail around the world, and I'd like to do that in the next 5 or 10 years. So obviously that's very long-term, but I need to save and restructure life a bit so that it could be more conducive to that sort of plan, or that finances would work out in a way that would make that possible. So that's the thoughts at the moment. So making better progress now. down amongst all of the rocks. County Galway is a bit of a hot mess of rocks from the sea, and it's just inlet after inlet stuffed with reefs and shoals and rocks. So good to get past the last main lot of them, and we're heading in now towards the entrance to Inishbofin. So the entrance here is a little hairy, but there's a really good sector light to light you in, but the white sector is just so narrow that you find yourself straying in and out of it very easily, one side or the other. But basically, there we go, I'm slightly in the red. It is going green. It's going back to white. Green. And white again. And I can turn pretty quickly after this rock into the bay proper. The anchorage looks very settled, which is great because I wasn't sure that was going to be the case. So pretty good passage for what was essentially a shakedown cruise for the summer. It's 22 hours almost exactly for 105 miles, so happy enough with that. A few things went wrong. My AIS isn't transmitting. It's receiving very well, but it's not transmitting, so I have some sort of a poor connection somewhere. So I need to go chasing that fault. Hopefully it's not up the top of the mast, hopefully it's in the connection down in the cockpit or in the cabin. Anything else? Nothing really. So yeah, all in all, reasonably successful first passage back at it. Summer 2024.